Hi folks, and welcome to my video. And so what are we up to today? Well, today I'm going to fit cruise control to my bobber, to this one here, and then if that works out okay, I shall fit it to that one over there as well. Now to do it the Triumph way, you have to buy a new switch cube here, this whole cube, and you have a cruise control button down there. They're actually unavailable, and if you can find one, I have seen a couple on eBay. They're really expensive, sort of £250–300, and they're normally in Europe or abroad somewhere. So then you've got all your duty and shipping and God knows what. It ends up costing you an arm and a leg just to fit cruise control. So I've done a bit of research, and what I found out is that the cruise control uses what they would call a momentary button, which is the same as your horn button really, in that it only works when you press it. So it's what's called a momentary button. So it's non-latching, so if it latches, that's no good. So it's just a push button that only operates whatever you want it to operate while it's being pressed. So on the standard bike with cruise control, because I've got a Speedmaster that's got cruise control, that uses the same button, not a momentary button, which is mounted around here somewhere. So basically what you do, you press it once and it switches your cruise control on, and you get a light on your dash to say that your cruise control is switched on, and then you press it again, dump, and that sets it. So say you're doing 30–40 miles an hour, you switch it on, then you press it again and it goes. So what I found out is that other than the button, all we need is a bit of wire really, and then we've got to connect it to the correct terminal, obviously. So on the bobber, let me go around the other side. On the bobber, this wiring loom here from this switch goes underneath the tank, and there are a couple of sockets that terminate around here somewhere underneath the tank. So obviously the tank has got to come off, but the socket's there, and there are two wires. A yellow wire, which is a switched live, in other words it's only live when the ignition switch is switched on, and then a white wire with a green trace. So white and green. Now you've got to be really careful here, because there is also a green and white wire that is also running throughout the bike, which controls your indicators. It runs from front to back and from the ECU and so on. So you've got to make sure you get the white and green, not the green and white. So first thing I've got to do is to get the tank off, remove this switch cube, and then run my wires. But in the meantime, what I've done is I've actually bought a spare switch cube, which I found cheap knocking around, and I've had a look at the plug here to establish which plug that we're working with. And as you can see, there are two plugs coming off this switch, which is exactly the same as the one that's on the bike, and it's this one here, which is an 8-pin. I think they call them JSW or something like that. It's Japanese, I don't know, but anyway, you can buy the pins for these plugs. So there's two ways of doing it really. If you've got the pins, which I have, luckily, I just need to pull out those blanks at the back here, those two little white blanks, and I can rewire this using the pins that I've already got. If I didn't have the pins, then you can just connect into them with a wire tap, like a Scotch block or something like that. Not keen on using them, but it would do the job. It would work just fine. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I haven't got my switch yet, my momentary switch. They're on order from eBay. But if this works, it'll have cost me a total of about £5 for parts, and obviously then there's the last thing that we have to do is to tune the bike with a with a map that has cruise control in it, and that's a separate video. I mean, I may tag it onto the end of this one, but we'll get to that when we get to that stage. The first thing is to actually do the wiring and get everything mechanically set up. So on here I have a wiring diagram. Let's just, here we go. This is a bobber wiring diagram, and this is that there is this switch block here. So as you can see, it's got lots of red wires on it and black wires. Let's just get, sorry, black wires and red wires, which if you look at that, black wires and red wires. The other switch block next to it, you can see there has got purple wires, blue wires, green wires, and so on. And as you can see, they're all in that block. So that block there, we don't touch, nothing to do with that one. It's this one here that we need to do. And as you can see, cruise control, if fitted, that's the switch block there. Then this side is on the bike already, and what we have is a yellow wire, as you can see, and white and green. Remember, white and green, not green and white. And if we follow that wire up, it goes all the way up. We're following it still, white and green, and we get, finally we get to the ECU here, and we find it again. Where are we? White and green. There it is, look. Pin number A29. Yeah, A29. So that is your cruise control wire, basically. So yeah, so all we've got to do now is find that on the bike and connect to it. And then obviously we'll get to the next point after that. So I'm going to first remove the tank, get the switch block off, and we'll go from there. So tank removal, for those that have never done it, it's pretty straightforward. You just need a pair of pliers, special pair of pliers like these ones, block of wood, and a 12mm socket to undo the tank. So we'll undo the tank bolts first, one each side, and then prop the tank up a piece of wood, and then we need to undo this connector here. This just sorry for the shaking. So this here, let me zoom out a bit so it's a bit clearer. Okay, so we pull this tab back like that, and then using these pliers, we need to squeeze either side and lift it. It's quite stiff to do, actually, but I'll see if I can film it, and you can see how the tank petrol pipe comes off. This is the main pipe. Like I say, it can be quite stiff, and it is made of plastic. That's it. There, two connectors there. Let's just get it in focus. Okay, so they need disconnecting, which I can't do holding the camera, but it's just a little tab that you press and then disconnect those. And then on the other side there's a rubber hose, and that's the tank off. The wire, the cable from this switch cube runs down here behind this cover, which will have to come off. As you see, it comes out here, and there's a bit of cable management here, but it's this one here, it's this socket here, so we can work on that while it's still connected to the bike for now. but in there should be, when we get to it and we strip some of the wiring back a bit, I can already see the yellow wire is there, and I'm sure the green and white and green is also there. So we just need to figure out which two pins they are, and then we can connect into them. The yellow one is the top left, and the white with the green tracer is the top right, as I'm looking at them now. So all I need to do now is marry that up with the switch that I've got on the bench and wire into those two pins. So yeah, that should be pretty straightforward, and that's the way we're going to do it. So I'll get back to the one on the bench, and I'll show you how I'm going to wire those into there. These are the switches that I bought, just a momentary switch off eBay, cheap as chips. So I've fitted the first one. I'd stripped this switch cover down, and I fitted the first one there. I've put the wires in, they're crimped on and then held in with heat shrink. So I'm going to put this all back together now and then get it fitted to the bike. Okay, so just to re-emphasise what we're doing here with the cruise control. So this is the cable from the handlebar switch here, which runs through this plastic shroud and down into these two sockets which are connected to the bike. And this one here has a yellow wire into the back of it and a white and green wire into the back of it. So what we need to do is get a connection from our switch, which we're fitting in here, to those green and white and green and yellow wire, and it doesn't matter which way round they go, it's irrelevant. So I mean, I've tried to match the colours up, but you can do it a number of ways. You can just run a wire through and cut the wire out of the socket here, and just connect it with a simple a spade connector or whatever, no problem at all. But luckily for me, I've actually got these sockets because I've used them before, and I've got the pins for them, which if you see them, they're absolutely tiny. These, I'll just take one off here and show you that. I don't know if you can even, yeah, that is what we're dealing with. So we have to crimp a wire into that and then run that wire through, and then it will clip into the socket that's already on the switch gear. I suspect not many people will have that facility, so just join the wires up anyhow you want. I've done it that way because I like, I've already got these parts. So basically this is my prepared switch now. So that you can see the yellow wire and the green ones there. The switch is on the other side there, and that's just an 8mm switch, cheap thing from China probably, off eBay, but it does work. So all I've got to do now is fit this, and basically I've run the cable, the two wires, all the way down inside this sleeve, and then they come out into this socket here, and there you can see the yellow one. The green one's there somewhere as well. There you go, green and white, but it's white and green really, but I had green and white wire, so that's what I've used, and all the pins are in there. So basically all I've got to do now is fit that on the bike and program it, and then hopefully we've got cruise control. So let's go ahead and do that. So got to remove the old switch gear, which is behind this cover. That's it, that's the cover off. And there you can see the wire runs along the top there. Need to undo that clamp. Cable management going on here. So that's the old one off. That can be fitted to my other bike. Right, I'm just going to put that on loose for now and then route the wire down to those connectors, and then I shall come back to you because I've got my heated grips to put back on and so on. So back shortly. Right, so that's the switchgear refitted and the cable's already plugged in. So on to the next stage, which is to put the fuel tank back on. Right, I just need to make the connections and then we're on to the final stage, which is reprogramming the ECU. Right, so now we're on to the Tune ECU part of the project for downloading a map that has cruise control on it. So I already know what map I need. That's the standard map on my bobber, 30090. And cruise control is 30102. I've already established that, so depending what country you're in, depends on which map you need. So I need 30102. So which obviously doesn't work with an iPad, so you've got to use a tablet. So we go to Tune ECU. We need to download a map. Open. Let's get that light out of the way. Move over here, is it? Away. Right. Open. Download. Triumph. Bobber. Mine's an early one, so Bobber Black. It's not a Bobber Black, it's that one of those. And what did I say? 30102. 30102 is there. Bonneville Bobber, Vance and Hines exhaust. Yeah, I've got that. Cruise control, all countries. And that's it, that's the one I need. So we download it, and there it is, 3102. So now all we need to do is put that into the bike, but I just want to make a couple of little changes before I do that. One of them is the parameters. I like the engine cooling fan to come on a little bit earlier. That's not the one. Configurations. Parameters. There, see? We have we can alter the rev limit and we can alter the cooling fan. So it's set by Triumph to come on at 103 degrees. I want mine to come on at 102. That's it, 102. So what I will do now, I'll save that map. Save. I'll change the name. CC, cruise control. Save. Okay, so that's the map that I shall be putting into the bike shortly. Gonna have my lunch first. Right then, we're now at the stage where we need to program the bike and see if we can get the cruise control icon up on the dash. So we have Tune ECU open, and the program, as you can see there, is Bobber CC. So got a battery charger on, and the fuse for the headlight is removed. So first things first, we need to connect this to the OBD port, which is behind the right hand side panel. There. Turn the ignition on, and then we go to our map, ECU, connect. And there we go, you see it's gone green, so we are now connected to the tablet. And then ECU, sorry, I'll do that again, ECU, program, reprogram, gives you all the warnings, continue. Remove headlight, I've done that, and we're connected to a battery charger. Let's go. Another warning. Focused. It says incorrect values can damage the, yeah, we know that. So now it's programming. Just as a side note, I did check this map against the other map, the original one that was in there, and it's got the cruise control adaptation in it, but you can't see that in the mapping, but the actual maps were identical. You can lay one over the other on Tune ECU, and then you can look through it if you like, and it shows you if there are any differences, and there were none. So the actual tune in the bike is exactly the same. It's just somehow Tune ECU have managed to copy over the cruise control element, if you like. Obviously the other thing is your bike needs to be registered with Tune ECU before you can use the program. Reprogramming done. Okay, so the next stage is there's a little procedure that we need to do now to see if we've got the icon on the dash. So I shall put the headlight fuse back in, and then we will try and do that. Okay, so I got an error code that came up on there then that said that it's gone now because the battery went flat on the phone again, on the camera. So I'm just finishing off with another camera here. So basically it said on there, it just said there was a procedure to follow to activate the cruise control. So, and this is the procedure. I've got it written down on my phone here. So let's just finish it off and see if it all works. So basically it's ignition on, then we have to kill switch to the stop position and then the run position, operate the front brake, operate the rear brake, operate the clutch, roll the accelerator. Oh, just hang on. Let's go back again. Sorry about that. Right. Roll the accelerator forwards like that, and then press the cruise control button, which is my new button over here. Press that once. Yep, and there we have it. Look, if you can see on the dash there, I've got the cruise control icon. Yeah, just above the neutral light there. So let's just turn it off, turn it back on, and see if that will come on again. So look at the dash. Press the cruise control button. There it is, look, it came up. So I'm assuming that from that, I'm not going out on my bike today. Well, it's not taxed anyway, or insured at the moment, but yeah, I'm assuming from that's it, it's working. So the true test will obviously be when I go out and try it, but I see no reason why that won't work. The Tune ECU picked it up that it's got cruise control fitted, and the icons on the dash, so I think we're there. The next job for me to do is to do the same. As long as it works on this one, on this bike, then I'll do the same on this one. Yeah, I'll fit cruise control to that as well. I've got the switch, I just need a bit of wire, and I'll do it in exactly the same way. So that was it, folks. Hopefully, if anyone fancies fitting cruise control, it really is as simple as 2 wires, a switch, and obviously you need Tune ECU to to activate it all and download the program. That's the most sort of, not the tricky part, but that's the bit that you need to sort of spend some money on, I suppose. But other than that, the rest of it is just a cheap switch and a little bit of drilling and mechanical work to get the switch fitted. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully that'll help somebody out, and speak to you on the next one. Bye now.